Shah Party, and let's take a look at tonight's headlines.
Signs of reduction in rainfall. 80,000 still affected. Several conditions laid out for Sajid Premadasa to become the presidential candidate. Sajid says he does not agree to any condition. Petition calling for the election in Alpitia be postponed, rejected. Executives and health sector officials engage in trade union action. Railway trade unions to join them by midnight.
The day-to-day lives of the general public living across the island was hampered today as a result of the inclement weather which continued throughout the day. However, the Meteorology Department notified this evening that the showery conditions would reduce to some extent after tomorrow.
Vehicular movement around Colombo was hampered this morning as a result of inundated roads owing to continuous rainfall. Several areas are still inundated. The Baddegama Nagoda Road in Gaul and the Baddegama Hikkadua Road was flooded, while a part of the primary section of the Baddegama Boys School was also underwater. This is the manner in which many roads in the Mapalagama area was inundated. Further, several low-lying areas and by-roads in Nagoda, Old Thanayamgoda, New Thanayamgoda and Moolana were also flooded. The Gaul Baddegama Road had collected over 3 feet of water from the Oluwagoda area. Our correspondent said sporadic rainfall was experienced in the Akurassa, Atureliya and Tihagoda areas. Valigama, Denipitiya, Galkaduwa, Ilwatta, Thalalla, Kokmaduwa and Valipitiya areas in Matara are also some of the areas which are inundated. The Kokmaduwa interchange of the Southern Expressway was temporarily closed as a result of heavy rain. The Bulat Sinhala Warakagoda Road in Kalutara was completely inundated as a result of Kukuleganga overflowing. One spill gate of Kukuleganga has also been opened. The Department of Irrigation states water levels of the Kalu River, the Ging River and Attanagalu Oya are still on the rise. The Panadugama water gauge of the Nilwala River had indicated that it is still on high flood level. The landslide warning issued to 5 districts will be in effect till 10 a.m. tomorrow. The landslide warning has been issued to several divisional secretariats in Gaul, Matara, Kalutara, Ratnapura and K. Gaul. The Department of Meteorology states rainfall exceeding 100 millimeters can be experienced in the western, southern and Sabaragamu provinces. Certain areas in the central and northwestern provinces are likely to experience 75 millimeters of rainfall. Governor of the Southern Province Hemal Gunasekara said all schools in the Gaul and Matara districts will be temporarily closed tomorrow and the day after. Director of Education to the Western Province, Srilal Nonis, said all schools in the Western Province would operate as usual tomorrow and the day after.
A 20-year-old youth drowned while bathing in the Kunu Ala in Kolonnawa.
The police reported that the youth had been wading across the canal on the bark of a banana plant last evening when he suddenly drowned. The youth had been rescued by a bystander after about 20 minutes, after which he was taken to the hospital. When I walked past this location, I saw people around the canal. I inspected as to what was going on. I asked a person there and he told me that a person had fallen into the canal. I asked them if I could save him and they told me to save him, so I jumped into the canal to save him. The youth passed away around 6 p.m. last evening after he was admitted to the National Hospital. The youth has been identified as Muhammad UR Manzoor Arshad, a 20-year-old resident of Sri Dharma Rama Road in Dematogoda.
Minister of Public Administration and Disaster Management Ranjit Madhuma Bandara said the government has allocated 12 million rupees for those who were affected by the recent floods.
We have already allocated 12 million rupees. We have informed to take all necessary action in Gaul and Kalutara districts. We have identified around 10,000 families in several districts. Our ministry has now started to build houses for these people. During the next 2 to 3 years, the government is also taking steps to build houses to those who are living in areas which are prone to landslides. We have spent around 1,500 million rupees to provide insurance to those who are affected by natural hazards.
සියලුම රටේ සියලුම ස්ථාන රටවැසියන් අපි රක්ෂණය කරලා තියෙනවා.
According to the data we have, the prevailing weather condition will ease from tomorrow. Although the rainfall reduced temporarily, the intermonsoonal weather condition will enhance. We can expect thunder showers during the evening hours. The level in the Millakanda area in Kaluganga is low. The water level will recede further. The Baddagama area is facing a minor flood situation. The Pannadugama area is facing a severe flood situation. The water level in the Attanagalla Oya in Dunnamale is at a considerable rate. Water levels in every other rivers are at a normal rate.
Red alerts for landslides have been issued to Bulat Sinhala, Walallavita, Matugama, Agalawatta areas and in areas in the Kalutara district. Red alert for landslides have also been issued to Alpitiya, Niyagama, Nagoda, Imaduwa and Baddegama areas. Level 2 warnings have been issued to Athuraliya and Pitabaddara areas in Mathara to be ready to evacuate to a safe location if required. Level 2 landslide warnings have been issued to the Yatiyantote area in Kegol. Level 1 warnings have been issued to Kalawana, Ayagama, Kiriyalla, Ahaliyagoda, Ratnapura and Kuruvita areas.
A special rally was organised at the Matugama public ground in the Kalutara district today to welcome the deputy leader of the United National Party, Minister Sajith Premadasa.
This rally is the fourth in a string of rallies organised to welcome the deputy leader of the UNP, Minister Sajith Premadasa. The first of the rallies was organised in Badulla, followed by two other rallies which were held in Mathara and Kurnagala. Today's public rally, named Sajith is Coming, saw the attendance of several ministers and MPs representing the United National Party. Deputy leader of the UNP, Minister Sajith Premadasa, was afforded a warm welcome by the people upon his arrival at the Matugama public ground. The rally commenced following religious observances. Sajith Premadasa is not a puppet or a scarecrow of anyone. Sajith Premadasa has a heart, a body and a soul of his own. My conscience is what guides my actions and my feelings. I would like to clearly state I will not agree to a political endeavour which includes conditions. My friends, I have something which I value more than presidency, that is my dignity. I will not deceive my dignity, my country or my people for anything, be it presidency or any other form of leadership. The obstacles I come across are very intriguing. However, I should point out that I am very well seasoned to face any obstacle. Because I have served the public for many years. No one can stop Sajith Premadasa's journey towards developing this nation. Assalamu alaikum. Vanakkam Devi Pihitai.
I said this once on a previous occasion and I will repeat this. Sajith Premadasa will be selected as the president of our country on the 17th of November. Only Sajith Premadasa can develop this nation. He is the only one who understands the agony of the common man, the starvation of the people, the struggles of the middle class and the issues of the state employees.
Remember, there are only 52 days from today to the 16th of November. The same way we carried out a revolution back then and made Ranil Wickremesinghe our Prime Minister, we will make Sajith Premadasa our President within these 52 days. Everyone in the villages, The bus stop and market asked for Sajid. Sajid is here. He is here now. It is up to you now to do the rest.
Sajidava! Then Sajidava! Then එනවනේ මේ යාවා! සජිත් ඇවිත් ඉවරයි. දින 52කින් ගේම ගහනක ඔබට බාරයි. අද මේ රටේ
Regardless of what any party or party leader says, not only the Sinhalese people of the country, the Muslim and Tamil communities also request for Sajid Premadasa.
දෙවන ජනතාව ඉල්ලන්නේ සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මැතිතුමා පවණයි කියන කියන්න ඕන.
It is also reported that the party leadership has agreed to present the candidacy at the upcoming presidential polls to Minister Sajid Premadasa on the basis that he adheres to a few conditions.
අපි හෙට වෙනකොට
By tomorrow, they will announce the name of the UNP candidate. We are working to appoint a candidate that will definitely win and is one who is demanded by the people.
වැඩිම ජනප්‍රියම අපේක්ෂකයා තෝරන්න දැන් කටයුතු කරගෙන යනවා.
මොනවාරි කොන්දේසි ඉදිරිපත් කිරීමක් තියනවද?
කොන්දේසි කියලා
Conditions are not what this country require. It is to provide what the people ask for. The conditions mentioned here are not major conditions. These are the United Nations Parts Principle. They are not conditions put forward targeting certain people. Most probably tomorrow the working committee will convene.
හෙට අපි කෘත්‍යාධිකාරී මණ්ඩලයේ බොහෝ විට හෙට උදේ රැස් වෙනවා.
හෙට කෘත්‍යාධිකාරී මණ්ඩලයේදී
Tomorrow at the working committee meeting, the Prime Minister will announce Sajid Premadasa as the candidate for the presidency. It is not just that. The Prime Minister will lead this electoral campaign. Not just that. He will then continue as the Prime Minister up until 2025 and will also function as the party leader for the next 5 years. Not only will we appoint Sajid Premadasa as the president of the country by the 17th of November, he will also abolish the executive presidency and go down as one of the most democratic leaders in history.
මම හිතනවා ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදීව කටයුතු කරන්නත් එතුමාගේ බලාපොරොත්තුවක් තියෙනවා.
UNP Deputy Leader Minister Sajid Premadasa, following a meeting with Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe at Temple Trees this morning, said he would not surrender to any conditions.
ඔබතුමා ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂක වෙලා ජනාධිපතිවරයා මේ ලංකාවේ ජනාධිපතිවරයා වුණොත් ඒ කියන්නේ රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයාට අගමැතිකම දෙන්න එකඟ වුණාද?
මේ මැතිවරණය
This is a presidential election. This election will decide the president of this country. There will be no change in the rest of it. That is the system.
ඒක තමයි ක්‍රමය.
එක්සත් ජාතික පෙරමුණ ඔබතුමා සම්මත කරගත්තා කියලා වාර්තා වෙනවා. ඒක සත්‍යතාවය කොහොමද?
මට කවුරුත් තාම
No one has put my name forward officially, but the newspapers had reported today that my name was agreed upon after I consented to certain terms and conditions. I would like to clearly state that I am not someone who will surrender to anything.
එකක් කියන්න කැමති මම කිසිම දෙයකට යටත් වෙන මිනිසෙක් නෙමෙයි.
ඒතර අකමැතිතුමාට පක්ෂේ නායකත්වයේ හිමමයි ඔබතුමා ජනාධිපති.
මම
I'm not someone who can be tied down with conditions to obtain the presidential candidacy.
නොවේ.
අගමැතිතුමාද අපේක්ෂා ගත්තේ ඔබතුමා කියලා කියන්න ඕන නැත්නම් වෙන කවුරුවත්ද?
නෑනේ ඒක
No, it is in the hands of the working committee. This is a joint decision that should be taken by the parliamentary group and the United National Front.
මොහයක් එකට එක්ක හොයලා ගන්න ඕන තීන්දුවන්නේ.
Ministers Kabir Hashim, Malik Samaravikrama and several others were also present. Before arriving at Temple Trees, the group held a discussion at the Ministry of Finance. Representing the United National Front, Sri Lanka Muslim Congress leader Rauf Hakim, leader of the Tamil Progressive Alliance Mano Ganeshan and several others also attended the meeting.
නෑ අපි
We held discussions about our development programs, the housing project.
වැඩසටහන.
ඉදිරි මේ වැඩ කටයුතු කොහොමද ඔබතුමාගේ?
ඉදිරි වැඩකට
My future plans will be decided very soon. It was the development programs that was discussed today.
මේ සංවර්ධන වැඩසටහන් ගැන.
Former Secretary of the UNP, Tissa Attanayake, issuing a letter today, said the requests made by Minister Sajid Premadasa asking for all who distance themselves from the UNP to rejoin the party will be commended by the party membership.
Tissa Attanayake says he will join hands with the UNP, taking into consideration the request that was made. He pointed out that the reason he left the UNP was because the party did not present a presidential candidate, even though the party had an opportunity to select a candidate for the 2015 presidential election. He stated that since the party is presenting a candidate now, his only expectation is for the party to win and that he has decided to join hands with Minister Sajid Premadasa.
President Maithripala Sirisena attended a number of events in Polonnaruwa over the course of the day. The second phase of the Shilpa Sena exhibition series, organised by the Ministry of Science, Technology and Research, was held at the Gallala National Sports Stadium in Polonnaruwa. The opening ceremony of the exhibition was held under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena. There is no provision in our constitution to reduce brain drain. You all know how bad the shortfall is, especially the number of engineers. We have a 75% deficit in the number of engineers we require to develop the country. We have a 25% shortfall of doctors in the state sector. Most of those who have benefited from free education have gone overseas. We can do much more if they feel that they must contribute back to their country. Why does that not happen? As I said before, we need a culture where the graduates aren't on the streets holding boards. We are in a number of problems such as this.
Rohan Pallewatha was named the presidential candidate of the National Development Front today. The announcement was made at a media briefing which was held in Colombo this evening. In more local news, presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna Gotabaya Rajapaksa met representatives of several organizations in Colombo today.
The National Convention of Sub-Organizations representing families of expatriates began at the Sri Lanka Exhibition and Convention Centre with the arrival of Gotabaya Rajapaksa.
One of the main expectations of those living abroad is to obtain a payment similar to a pension. In the next government, we will definitely do it for them. The main objective of our next government is to uplift the fallen economy. We have a plan as to how the economy can be uplifted. We will mainly focus on empowering the workforce of this country.
Thereafter, leader of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna, Mahinda Rajapaksa, arrived at the event.
We selected our candidates long time ago, but they are still struggling to pick one. They keep saying they will be announcing a candidate, but nothing has happened so far. There is a conflict within them. How can we plan on taking the country forward with two people fighting for power? Because we have no issue from our end.
The National Convention of Sub-Organizations representing families of war heroes was also held under the auspices of Gotabaya Rajapaksa.
We did our utmost at every given instance. When I took over, there were a lot of anomalies and disparities. The only thing that was left to do was to provide the pension when you retire at the age of 55. I hadn't come that far in solving the issues. I will not let anyone or any force to divide this country or to encourage terror in this country.
Later, Mahinda Rajapaksa also attended the event.
Trade unions have announced that they will launch a train strike that will commence at midnight tonight. This is against a backdrop of a number of strike actions already taking place, particularly in the state sector, where employees are citing salary anomalies. The chairman of the Railway Engine Drivers Association, Indika Dodangota, said drivers, controllers, guards and a few trade unions are taking part in the strike, which cites issues including salary anomalies. Health officers belonging to 22 grades also carried out a strike action earlier today. This included a number of issues such as the 5-day week, uniform allowance increment, overtime payments and the confirmation of new recruits. Patients who arrived at the hospitals this morning complained that they were unable to obtain medicine as the hospital was in a state of dysfunction. Officials at a number of hospitals, including the National Hospital, the National Eye Hospital and a number of others, were engaged in the strike for a period of 4 hours this morning.
දිනේට එනවා වෙලාවට S එකට දැන් S පේන්නේ නැහැ ඒකට ඔපරේෂන් කරලා තියෙන්නේ මේ බලන්න මේ බේත් තුනම නැහැ
අnder පහමාරේ ඉඳලා මේ ඇවිල්ලා ඉතින් දැන් ඉතින් ගෙදර යනවා යන්න දින ගිය බදාදත් ආවා ගිය බදාදත් ඇවිල්ලා ආපහු ගියා දැන් අදත් ඇවිල්ලා ආපහු යනවා
අපි කැමති නැහැ අහිංසක රෝගීන්ට. We don't like to stop issuing medicine to these innocent patients. There is a range of strikes engulfing the country at present. We are not part of that group. We will continue this till the 30th if we don't get a satisfactory response.
Meanwhile, a woman who was supposedly video recording the wards and the staff at the National Eye Hospital during the time of the strike were taken into the custody of the hospital's security and later released. Junior employees, drivers and health service assistants at the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital were not engaging in their duties today. The junior service staff at the Gampala Hospital also pledged their support to the ongoing strike action by carrying out a 4-hour strike earlier today. Strike actions of this nature were seen at a number of hospitals across the country over the course of the day. However, this was not the case at certain hospitals in the Puttalam district. The trade union action that was commenced by the Association of State Administrative Officers continued for the second day today, citing salary anomalies. As a result, the Galle District Secretariat, the Emudu Divisional Secretariat, the Galle Kadawat Sathara Divisional Secretariat, the Kandy District Secretariat, the Department of Immigration and Immigration in Kurunegala were among the places that saw day-to-day activities being hampered. Meanwhile, the strike action by the university non-academic staff continued for the 17th day today. As a result, academic activities in universities across the island did not take place again today as well. Unemployed graduates also engaged in a strike action this morning at the Galle Face Green, demanding that they be provided jobs.
Now, the Satyagraha campaign launched by the differently abled war heroes opposite the Fort Railway Station continued for the 16th day today.
This campaign is being carried out against a backdrop where cabinet approval was granted to provide all injured military, police and special task force personnel a monthly salary equivalent to their last drawn salary at the time of their retirement until their demise. The Satyagraha campaign is organized by the National Movement to protect the rights of war heroes. Injured war heroes with less than 12 years of service and their relatives are engaged in the Satyagraha campaign, and they claim that the pension payment should be granted to their caretakers when they pass away.
Minister Mangala Samaravira expressed the following views during a media briefing held this evening at the Ministry of Finance.
There is a sly operation in place to inconvenience the people by organizing various trade union actions. Monetary incentives which were to be given to officials of the Tri-Forces were increased after a lapse of 20 years through the last budget. The monthly bonus of those Tri-Forces officials was increased from January. Further, we doubled the house rent bonus given to Tri-Forces officials through the previous budget. We put in place a mechanism which would allow police officers to be promoted. Not only that, the cabinet also decided to grant a lifetime pension to all injured officers of the Tri-Forces, police and special task force, similar to that of the salary they drew prior to being injured. By January 2020, we would increase the salaries of all state sector employees by 107%. There are several disparities within these salary hikes. A special presidential commission was appointed to resolve the salary anomalies which exist in the state sector. Based on that report, a salary hike will take place on the 1st of July 2020. A salary hike from 3,000 to 20,000 rupees will take place.
කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලය හමුවට ඉදිරිපත් කළා මේ ආපාදිත රන් පිළිබඳ ලැබෙන විශ්‍රාමයට ඔවුන්ගේ බිරිඳට සහ මේ දරුවට අවුරුදු 26ක් සම්පූර්ණ වෙනකන් ගෙවන්න එතුමායි යෝජනාවක් ඉදිරිපත් කළා ඔබතුමායි කරන්න තියෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. ඒක සත්‍යතාවයක් තියනවාද?
ඔව් සත්‍යතාවයක් තියෙනවා.
Yes, there is a truth to that. The president has the ability to make recommendations, but we are the ones who have to make the necessary monetary provisions. The Treasury has to make decisions after reviewing the repercussions which could occur by approving such a thing. At a time where those widows are being paid a considerable amount as the pension, it is unfair to request that the original salary be paid.
In more local news, the Supreme Court today dismissed the petition seeking to suspend the Alpitia Pradeshya Sabha elections to be held on October 11th.
A three-member judge bench ruled to dismiss the case without legal costs by declaring there is no legal basis to hear the case. 3 residents of the Alpitia area filed the petitions claiming the date for the poll had been decided without convening a meeting of the Elections Commission. The case was taken up before Justices Vijit Malalgoda, Preeti Padman Surasena and Gamini Amrasekara.
Why did officials fail to take steps to prevent the gruesome suicide attacks of April 21st by a group of extremists headed by Zaharon Hashim? A 7-member bench comprising Chief Justice Jayanta Jayasuriya demanded explanation on this regard from the attorney to IGP sent on compulsory leave, Pujit Jayasundara. The bench raised the question when considering 12 fundamental rights petitions that request charges be filed against the IGP, the Secretary to the Ministry of Defence and the Prime Minister, along with the Cabinet of Ministers. The bench stated, had an order been given to the officers in charge of police stations to tighten security on account of the information provided by the Director of State Intelligence conveyed via phone call on the mornings of the 20th and 21st of April, the effects of such an attack could have been minimised. The bench also queried as to whether the role of the IGP does not go beyond merely issuing a letter to junior officers, instead going to the extent of advising that steps be taken to provide serious orders to junior officers while also monitoring the said actions. The bench further said some sort of information should have been given to the Cardinal and the Catholic Council as well as priests heading churches. The bench also elaborated that both the IGP and former Secretary to the Ministry of Defence could have taken steps to use special units such as the Police Special Task Force and Army units so they could have been directed in a planned manner. Responding to the claims by the bench, the attorney representing Pujit Jayasundara, while accepting that his client did receive information regarding the attack, added that as there was no certain information on where the attacks could take place, that his client avoided revealing such information into an open forum, as it was unsuitable to do so. His lawyer further added that his client had passed on the intel to officers that were better versed in the area of counter-terrorism, including the Senior Deputy Inspector General in charge of the Police Special Task Force and 4 other senior DIGs. Further consideration of the petitions were postponed to tomorrow.
Up next is Action TV.
Testifying before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, Sagarika Sumanasekara, a veterinary doctor, confirmed that steps were taken to import 3,330 heifers, disregarding the risk of the BVD virus also being brought into the island. Dr. Sumanasekara, who joined the Divinaguma department in 2014 as a project coordinator on a dual basis, in 2016 joined the project launched by the Ministry of Local Economy to raise the standard of liquid milk industry in the country, where 20,000 heifers were to be imported, as a project director. The director revealed that while 3,330 heifers were imported to the country in the second phase of the project, 23 of the heifers, who were all held in the same compound, were infected with the BVD virus. Dr. Sumanasekara also revealed that the BVD virus spreads when airborne, and so that given that all the heifers were in the same compound, the importation of the heifers should not have been done. She added that as a veterinary doctor, she takes responsibility in this regard. She added that while 779 of the imported heifers lost their lives as a result of the BVD virus upon being imported, and that 40% of the calves also faced the same fate. Her efforts to dispel the fact that the BVD virus isn't endemic to Sri Lanka also failed before the Presidential Commission. She further had to accept that as the project director, that she did not engage with any industry professionals or related government departments in making decisions with regard to the project. She further added that while the accountant of the ministry on 21 separate occasions requested her to provide details on the monies received for the sale of the said heifers, that she failed to provide the information. But documentary evidence has shown that she had constant contact with the Australian party and their local representatives, leading the commission to question whether the director worked for the government or the Australian company. Renuka Ekanayaka, the ministry's former secretary, testified before the commission on the 20th of September and tearfully admitted that the questionable project was a failure. Even though the former secretary has now entered retirement, she can be charged and have charges pressed against her under the country's law on at least one charge. That is because the secretary overstepped her mark and used financial powers only vested with Parliament to approve the importation of the remaining 15,000 heifers at a cost of 1.31 billion rupees. It was revealed that it was this director who recommended the payment of the remaining figure for the 15,000 heifers, even in the backdrop of the first phase, comprising 5,000 heifers, proving to be an absolute failure. The Treasury currently continues to pay interest to a commercial bank in the Netherlands at an instance where a single heifer is not contributing to the economy. This project, which bears the tag of contributing to the growth of the local economy, has proven to be detrimental. The project, which has already cost the taxpayer more than $20 million, is still being carried out, and so is the position of the director concerned.
Overseas, the second day of the United Nations General Assembly took off today with several country heads holding discussions with their counterparts while also addressing current issues being faced.
Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari called on developed nations to work together to pull Africa out of poverty, saying current efforts are uncoordinated and plainly incremental. Buhari championed his government's effort in climate change and corruption, saying his administration's prosecution of officials of PNID Nigeria is a signal to other criminal groups that they would not tolerate corruption. President Donald Trump and his South Korean counterpart held a summit in New York last night to discuss plans to restart US-North Korea talks, as the allies hold discussions in Seoul on sharing the cost of American soldiers stationed in South Korea. A White House statement said Trump and South Korean President Moon Jae-in discussed ways to achieve practical results in the US-North Korea working-level talks. South Korea's presidential office said while Trump expressed his confidence that Kim will fulfill commitments made during the two summits. French President Emmanuel Macron said the United States and Iran need to take a leap of faith and show some courage in building peace. Macron has been pressing for a diplomatic solution to the ongoing crisis, meeting Rouhani twice in the last 2 days and previously offering economic incentives aimed at coaxing the Iranian leader to meet with Trump. Meanwhile, German Chancellor Angela Merkel would welcome talks between the United States and Iran, but after speaking to the presidents of both countries yesterday, said it was unrealistic to expect Washington to lift sanctions of the Islamic Republic first.
In sports news, the Sri Lanka cricket team arrived in Pakistan today under presidential level security to take part in their limited over series with the hosts.
The team was welcomed with a special event following their arrival at the Karachi airport. The Sri Lanka-Pakistan series will comprise of 3 ODI matches and 3 T20 matches. This is the first time following the Lahore terror attacks on the Sri Lanka team in 2009 that an international team is engaging in an international tour of Pakistan. While Lahiru Thirimana will captain the ODI team, Dasun Shanaka will lead the T20 side. The first ODI between the two sides will take place on Friday.
And with that, we conclude tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
And I am Shahan Jurampati. Good night and take care.